G'day, hello, and welcome to a very soft launch of the 2021 Sydney Whisky Fair / Forum. My name is Scott Fitzsimons from the Oak Barrel promoter of Sydney Whisky Fair. For 12 years now, celebrated the 10th anniversary in spectacular fashion, if I might say so myself, in 2019 before 2020 nixed our chance to hold an event last year and has nixed our abilities to hold it this year. But for those of you who might remember, we ran a thing called Sydney Whisky Forum last year. It was basically a collection of discussions, panels, people from the industry from all over the world coming together to sort of share information, stories and knowledge about whiskey, as well with lots of packs going out to punters around Australia to try whiskey and just basically get together. So giving a brief overview tonight that we'll be able to stick up as a video on the forum page and sort of explain what we're going to do, because obviously, as you can probably tell by my haircut, if you're watching this at some point in the future, we are still in lockdown here, so unable to run the event as we had planned at the start of August. And we had planned to run it basically from October last year is when we had started planning for the end of August, when we normally put Whisky for the last weekend of August. We had been speaking to distillers across Australia basically monthly, had the space locked in, the license all ready to go. But thankfully, from our point of view, we're very cautious about actually putting tickets on sale, because there was always the risk that something like this could happen, and something like this has happened. And we're in lockdown, certainly to the end of August, but potentially longer than that as well. So what we're going to be doing moving forward, obviously, is so far 10 nights worth of events that we're going to be running from different sort of things. In the first week, which sort of starts on the 16th, 17th of August, the Monday, Tuesday there, initially we had planned to use that as the international week. So have the forum element with international guests that couldn't make it to Australia that week, then followed by the week after, which is the week that we're starting the 23rd on the Monday as the Australian week, which was going to be so because we were hoping to have distillers in town. And as I said, up until about 2 weeks ago, that was certainly, or sorry, 2 weeks ago, about 6 weeks ago now, that was certainly on the cards, and people were definitely keen for that to happen. So because of that, even though we don't need to do that anymore, the way that the forum is planned out is a little bit like that. So the first week is going to be focused on internationals, with the second week coming up for it's more of the Australian things. So to kick off on what is currently the opening night, we might slide something in on Monday the 16th, but currently, and I've just put the link up there, so oakbarrel.com.au/forum, you can see all the details. Tuesday the 17th, we're going to visit a distillery that we sort of been looking to do this tasting for a little while, Bimba out of the Bimba Distillery out of London. Fascinating story, lots of Australian connections there. We threatened to do a tasting just before Christmas last year, but it was a bit cluttered and people had lots of things to do. Then we couldn't get our hands on the right stock. But I can see just in front of me, we've got a bunch of bottles that we've sort of been holding back and collecting since then, that we were holding back for fair, whatever that looked like, and it's looking like a forum. So 5 single cask expressions from their very early runs. I think barrel number 30 is the earliest of things that we're going to see from them, with a whole bunch of different cask styles and that sort of thing. But it's really going to be a bit of an introduction into Bimba. As I say, lots of Australian connection. Fascinating story for an urban distillery, using all floor malted barley and sourcing barley from very close by. So we're going to dig into that with packs that we can send out to you that we'll be able to drink along with. Jumping on to the following night is one of the returning panels from 2020 is the Indie Bottlers panel. So it's going to be great to welcome Kira from North Star, Alistair from Infrequent Flyers, Dave from That Boutique Whiskey Company, and Eamon from Rest and Be Thankful back into the stream. And basically, we're seeing this proliferation of independent bottlers. And last year was very much about, we see things move in waves. All of a sudden, there's XYZ distillery that every independent bottler's got their hands on, or this distillery is shot through the roof in price for whatever reason. But we don't always get to look back and see who's making these decisions and why these decisions are going to be made. So it was fascinating last year to sort of talk to the four of them, all four highly respected independent bottlers that we love and stock here at the Oak Barrel, but with four different approaches and to the way that they do things and models of their businesses. So we're going to go back and look at that again. All four of them have agreed to come back. I'm going to try and wrangle that one to get some good information, but generally I think it's going to be four of them just having a drink and having a laugh. Now, that one is on Wednesday the 18th. Again, jump onto oakbarrel.com.au/forum to see the full details. But we're not sending out packs for this one. This is just a free information session. If you've got a bottle of whiskey at home, like I do right now, that's why we encourage you to crack open whatever you've got, indie or otherwise, ask some questions. It's going to be great to sort of, the value I find in this is to say, okay, what's happening with this or what's happening with that, and getting four different answers to the same question. So that's going to be quite fascinating. Then we do have something on Thursday, the 19th of August. We just haven't confirmed that yet. So if you're watching this video back, we might have confirmed it by now. But there's a few options we got to get in there. But we're just sort of holding our gunpowder dry on that one. But on Friday, the 20th, well, I'll tell you exactly what the Thursday was going to be. We obviously have a single cask that everyone should know about by now, the Ardnamurchan single cask for Whisky Fair and the 65th anniversary of the Oak Barrel this year. That cask is landing as I speak on the 6th of August here in about a week's time. So that's just a logistical issue if we can physically get the bottles here and out to people in time. We're just not 100% on that, but we do have some fallback options if we need to put Ardnamurchan back a week, but we'll sort of advise on what that happens. But Friday the 20th, something I'm quite excited about, and a bit of a tie-in for the Whisky Fair journey. We're going deep into the warehouses of the Paul John Distillery. So Paul John, based out of Bangalore, as the emergence of Australian whiskey has happened in this country, we've also seen the sort of emergence of Indian whiskey happen there with Amrut and then Paul John, and now there's a bunch of distilleries out there. But I think it's not, hyperbole to call them a powerhouse when it comes. They're making some exceptional whiskies. They're close to us in terms of, geographical proximity. So the value is exceptional. And the whiskies are unbelievable. And, we've been huge fans of Paul John. I say it's a tie-in because we were the first, we bottled an exclusive Oak Barrel Paul John cask for a fair about 4 or 5 years ago. It was the first, I'm going to double check that, but it was about 4 or 5 years ago, the first Australian single cask of Paul John. So we've sort of been waiting to do a tasting because they're so close. It seems like you just wait until they come into the room, but obviously that's not going to happen. So we've got Michael de Souza, the master distiller, who's hosted tastings here before, coming on, and we've requested to have a little bit of a dig on the selfie stick if someone can run it around into the warehouses down there, because they're part of their fascinating story is they've got above ground warehouses and underground warehouses, and the whiskey matures completely differently in those two environments. So we're hoping to dig deep. Exceptional value. It's $49, $44 for members, including express shipping. We're feeding that all in. To try 7 whiskies. There's a few new ones we haven't presented before. There's Nirvana, which is going to be a new entry-level sort of option, but also the Oloroso Select Cask, which is one of their more premium releases. So that's coming up on Friday the 20th, and I think it's going to be one of the sleeper hits. Just like at Fair proper, you put Paul John in the corner, it maybe doesn't get the excitement as the big Australian brands or the big Scottish brands or independent bottler. But guaranteed, when I look at the figures after the fair, people just keep gravitating to it. So I think when we look at Forum, I think that's going to be post the event. I think that's going to be a big one. So that's quite exciting. All righty. So moving on to what will be night number 5, but it's actually going to be day number 5 on Saturday, the 21st of August. Now, last year we did an event on Saturday, which would have been the fair, because fair normally happens on the last Friday and Saturday of August each year. The Saturday we did this thing called Big Questions, where we basically packed out a virtual chat every 15 minutes, let in another 2 or 3 identities, people from the Australian whiskey industry, whether they be a distiller, an importer, brand ambassador, whoever, just people you would have seen at the fair. That's something, again, that we're not necessarily going to send out packs for. That's something that you can have a drink of anything at home ask some questions, jump on the chat. Lots of fun. That's probably going to happen on the Saturday, the 21st. We haven't confirmed that yet because we can also do it on the second Saturday, and there's a few other options we have there. So that's probably going to be the option there. But again, that's not urgent because you don't need to send anything out to you. That's just going to be a lot of fun. Saturday, the 22nd, is what we're calling a spare day. We're not counting it as one of the nights. We might have a day off to make sure we haven't run out of internet and everything's still working. But if anyone's got any good ideas they'd like to see, happy to fill that spot on the Sunday. Last year's forum, we did the rarest hen's teeth tasting, which was exceptional fun with a bunch of different producers with some very rare Australian whiskey. But following that, we're going to get into night number 6, which will be on August the 23rd. Again, if this is all coming a little bit hard, oakbarrel.com.au/forum will have all the dates and listings there. That one is going to be, well, we had planned it to be the Australian Whiskey Week. If the first week was international, the second week was going to be the Australian Whiskies, under the plan that we would have distillers in town to run a bunch of events with. But we don't have that, unfortunately. So we're going to do a bunch of nights with what we call a tasting called Aussie Whiskey Get Together. Now, the theme of Whiskey Forum 2021, as was fair, and this is not something I've come up with in the past 6 months. I've designed this logo back in December last year, is lifting spirits. It's a tough time for people in lockdown, just from a personal point of view, not being able to go out, not being able to see friends and family and that sort of thing. But distilleries as well, producers who aren't getting, particularly regional producers who aren't getting the tourism traffic, and really they haven't had that for a good 18, 20, 22 months now with the bushfires prior to COVID, if we can remember back that far. So it's a chance to sort of raise a glass, and that's what the 3 nights of Aussie Whiskey Get Together are going to be. Getting around, we're going to have some packs. We've spoken to a lot of distilleries who are going to donate whiskies, whether they're new releases or progress reports or special things, just stuff they love and they want to show off. About 6 distillers per night. We're going to send out packs to everyone, the distillers as well, so they'll be able to just have a chat, and you'll be able to sort of eavesdrop and listen in and ask questions with a bunch of different distillers, just to sort of raise a glass, sit back and have a bit of fun. I mean, the whiskeys are going to be very serious, but it's certainly not going to be a serious event. It's going to be something that's relaxing, have a few laughs and just sort of try and capture that whiskey fair vibe, without necessarily being too lecturish about it. So the Monday, the 23rd of August, that's going to be night number 1. Tuesday, the 24th, is going to be night number 2. Now, we're doing 3 nights of this because we're trying to get screen time and airtime for as many people as possible as we would have had at the fair proper. So that's going to be a very difficult thing, but we're going to try and get as many people in as possible, and we're going to split it up so you'll have some more established distilleries on each night, some newer ones you may not have tried before, and some people with some new things as well. So that's Monday the 23rd. Monday the 24th, Tuesday the 24th is going to be the same for the second night of Aussie Whiskey Get Together, round 2 of that. The third night is actually going to be Thursday the 26th, because on Wednesday the 25th is, of course, Tim Duckett's traditional night. Now, it's either 5 or 6 years that we've done this. I think it's 5. It's Tim Duckett's Trails Through Tasmania. And basically, for those who haven't been to one of these events before, we basically give Tim from Hartwood and Tasmanian Independent Bottlers fame a soapbox. He stands on it and talks about where he sees the industry at and where he sees it's going, and challenges and problems facing and opportunities as well. So that's going to be a lot of fun. He's going to do that, and we do have packs for this one, as we normally do, while we're drinking a whole bunch of whiskies that sort of are chosen around about what he wants to talk about. Because he's in Tasmania and he's going to be probably sitting on a couch, again, he has dragged in a friend that some people might be familiar with, a gentleman called Bill Lark, from Lark Distillery and heaps of other things that we're going to have a bit of fun with. He's going to probably be sitting on the couch, just having a good old chin wag and a chat, and taking your questions as well as just having a bit of a chat about where they see that going. So in that pack that we have a very limited amount that's live on the website now. We have, if I look over my shoulder, there's a a Heartwood. There's a couple of blended Tasmanian independent bottlers. There's some new make from Overing, some Adams peated new make. There's also going to be releases from Flurio and Belgrove. They're all being chosen by Tim, and if there's probably the hints in there, there's going to be a lot of talk about blending, either blending as a single malt to not just do single cask releases and find a core product that's ongoing. Lux Symphony is going to be another one in that pack as well, but also blending in between distilleries, and the Flurio country to coast collaboration with Blackgate is something that Tim wanted to put in this as well, so we got that as well. So they're always big nights. There's 8 whiskies in there, and some of them are touching near 60%, so that's going to be quite big. Thursday, the 26th, I forgot what night we're up to now. I think about night 9 at the moment. That's going to be the third Aussie whiskey get-together. I haven't finalised the lineups because I want to make sure that we have equal, things across each night. I can tell you, though, some of the brands that are going to be involved across those 3 nights, we're going to have some pretty special stuff from people like Bakery Hill, Spirit Thief. We're looking at Backwards, Flurio with a new release that was only bottled as I speak a couple of days ago and just arrived with us today for the packs breaking down. Iniquity with some stuff. I'm not going to reveal it now. It's all going to be up very soon, but there's going to be a bunch of across that week that's going to be really, really cool, and stuff that will be debuting, stuff that will be new releases, but also stuff that won't be available to purchase just yet. As I said, it's serious whiskey, but the tastings hopefully aren't going to be too serious. It's a bit of a sit down and try and epitomize that lifting spirits sort of mentality as well. Now, that leads us to a bit of the finale, which is going to be the Friday, the 27th. We probably might still do something on the 28th, the Saturday, to mark that day as well. As I said, the big questions and that sort of industry get together might happen that day. But the Friday the 27th, we're going to be launching and talking about a very special Australian whiskey we've had bottled for the Whisky Fair 2021. I can't give it away too much just now because we're just waiting to dot the I's and cross the T's, and that's going to be an announcement unto itself. And I think could be one of the biggest announcements in Oak Barrel Whisky Fair history. So very excited. It's been very hard to keep under wraps, but watch that space. The tasting format, we're just going to work on exactly how that's going to work and what tasting packs look like, because obviously we can't get everyone in the same room. So that's going to be what we're looking at this year. So that's an overview of what Fair / Forum for 2021 is going to be. There's going to be things we're going to add to this. As always happens with this, there's last minute things that we're going to drag in and have a bit of fun with. We'll get as many people as possible that can get in our time zone and play along with us. So an email will, as I speak, will go out tomorrow morning with all these details to our mailing list. But this for those online now, and I can see there's a few of you across the Facebook and YouTube and various channels. You can jump on the website at oakbarrel.com.au/forum right now, and that will give you a list of the things that are live, and even if there's not tasting packs, you can still register to get an update. And that is a nutshell is what Forum's going to look like this year. We will hopefully be doing an in-person event in a fair style towards the end of the year. It is 65 years of the Oak Barrel, and we had plans to run a bunch of events sort of off the back of Whisky Fair leading up to December. Obviously, all of that's on hold. We're not going to get ahead of ourselves and announce anything that we can't follow through with until we're confident that we can. Again, very lucky that we didn't, sell tickets to a physical Whisky Fair, as we were about a couple of times. We were about a week away from doing, but held back, and thankfully for the pure administration of that and refunding tickets and that sort of thing. But that will likely be October, November, maybe even December, depending on what happens, and maybe even January. So we're going to be a little bit fluid with that. But what we can confirm is that the forum is live. That's the first announcement for the program. There's a few others coming, and wherever you are, whether you're going to be part of the forum or not, if you're in lockdown or not, make sure that whatever you're lifting spirits and keeping yourself safe and happy through this whole process. So I'm gonna peel off now. As I said, that email's going out. If you've got any questions, feel free to hit us up on the social media, on the email, give us a call, and we can answer anything. And also, if you've got any ideas, fill gaps you'd like to see, feel free to get in touch, and we can sort of see if we can facilitate that. But thank you, and looking forward to creating some great content and having some chats with some really great people in whiskey around the world in the next month or so.